Years before the nuclear catastrophe, a handful of wealthy men and women grew increasingly worried by the political unrest across their countries. Moral panic, witch hunts, and censorship spread like wildfire. This congregation, scientists, professors, artists, felt the need for a place where history and culture could be preserved, safe from those who would destroy it for its seditious content. They pooled their resources in the hopes of creating such a place, free from the volatile swing of political agenda. A vault was to be built. Within it would be enclosed the most comprehensive collection of books and holotapes in history. The project owed much to the efforts of one Professor Cartwright, who at one time worked for a certain Robert Edwin House at the Robco Company, and used his position to secure valuable contracts within Voltec. As the construction of this library began, the intellectuals gathered their private collections, hunted tirelessly for rare texts to complete them. Cartwright would oversee this process and act as the library's caretaker. When it was time, all would gather for shelter, seal the doors behind them. None of them could predict, however, that the bombs would fall so early, and when they did, Cartwright was alone in the library. The professor knew that his days were numbered. To ensure that the library would not die with him, he spent his time reprogramming his robots. The machines would ensure that the library would persevere until the world could once again take advantage of its wisdom. He would endow them with the ability to think, the ability to choose, the ability to learn. Partly because he feared the dangers that might threaten the library in years to come. Partly because as the years grew long, he needed someone, something to soothe his solitude. 200 years have passed. Far enough time for something to go wrong. Today, the courier awakens the library from its long sleep.
Alright, what's in this cave? Oh, whoa. Looks like a Mr. Handy graveyard. There's some human bodies, too. I wonder who did this. A Vault H. I've never heard of a Vault H. I have to get in there. I haven't been in a vault in so long.
Oh, is there somebody out there? What? A radio broadcast? So, there's still people out there fitted with a Pip-Boy, huh?
Yep. Are you the one transmitting that radio signal?
Yes, we are. You're coming from a vault, aren't you? Well, I don't see why we should have this conversation through an intercom. Please, come inside. I fear I must ask you to come in alone, though. We have a strict policy when it comes to our maximum number of guests.
That should be fine. I'm alone right now. Can't wait to see what's in this vault. Hopefully not an experiment that's too cruel. This place is pretty rusted and old. At least this outer part is. More Mr. Handies. Whoa, so many books. Is this supposed to be some sort of library? That's really interesting. Can't wait to see what they have. And the bots must take care of it. Hello.
Despite your presence, the machine gets on with his work as if you weren't there.
Oh, can you help me with something?
Please move along. If you have any questions, James on the first floor will be happy to answer.
Oh, okay. Let me get a look at you.
It looks like just another Mr. Handy unit. He's particularly worn out and some wires are hanging from his left side.
Alright, bye. I'll talk to James.
The machine quickly resumes its duties, unfazed.
Pretty worn out, but that's normal. Whoa, so many books. Alright. Oh, turrets. I guess they have to have some defenses. Hello? Anyone here? Oh, wow. This is beautiful. Oh, wow. So many books. Hello?
So, how may I help you?
What is this place?
This is the library built by the professor in the year 2072. It is one of the most extensive compilations of human knowledge in the world, provided other collections survived, of course.
It's like a library of Alexandria. You don't mind if I stay and look around a bit?
Of course, you're welcome to use our facility. Feel free to ask Roland upstairs for a room in our living quarters. That said, you should know there are some general rules you must observe during your stay here.
Yeah, of course. Which are?
Treat the facility with respect. As long as your actions do not threaten our collection, no harm should come to you.
I'll keep that in mind.
Sorry, I know I just dumped that on you like some kind of threat, but it really isn't. We just want your stay here to be as comfortable as possible. I'm just supposed to give all our guests a basic rundown of our rules. You know, rules and regulations. That kind of thing.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. This place is very, very valuable. What was the purpose of this place anyway?
It serves several purposes, from educating the occasional visitor to helping the survivors, building an enlightened society, to remain a beacon of unaltered knowledge of a bygone era, and a safeguard.
A safeguard? From what?
From historical revisionism, among others. The victor rewrites history. We need to ensure that the record of past events doesn't get scrapped because of fluctuating political contingencies.
Yeah, you were so right. There's a group of people out there trying to revise Roman history, and you know what? I don't want to get into it. It's a very noble goal. There are a lot of books outside, though. What's the point specifically of all of this?
Exhaustivity. Each and every book in this place has been properly indexed and sealed in our database, dramatically reducing the risk that any part of mankind's heritage becomes lost.
Oh, okay, so you have a backup system. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Can I ask you some other questions?
Of course, I'd be happy to answer.
Do you get many visitors?
We received a fair share of guests in the past, but the last few years, not so much. It seems the Night Stalkers are roaming around, dissuading most travelers from exploring the area.
Oh, those are those snake dogs, right? On top of that, you're in a rather remote area.
Yes, we'll have to address this problem eventually, but not yet. Not as long as the war outside is raging, at least.
Well, why don't you do something about it?
First, we are programmed to stay inside and take care of this library. It's the way we're made. The second reason is, well, I can't explain it much further. Let's just say that for now we're playing it submarine style.
I mean, it makes sense. You want to protect all of this, and if you aren't here to protect it, then who is? So I guess you're just kind of gatekeeping who gets entrance for now. Do you need a hand with those Night Stalkers?
I'd rather not. At least not for now.
Okay, well, I'm willing to help if you're open to it some other time. Can we talk about something else?
I'm all ears. Ask away.
So who was this professor you were talking about?
Back when titles were still relevant, he was a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and chief science officer of ROPCO. His domain of expertise, as you surely guessed, artificial intelligence.
Oh, he worked at the Institute when it went by its old name. How did he manage to build this place?
A well-planned intersection of resources, contacts, and wealth. Of course, being in close relation with Vault-Tec's brass also played in his success.
Wait, Robco Company? Mr. House's Robco Company?
Correct. I'm not surprised he still is alive today. When our master told us about him, he was described as quite the resourceful individual.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but maybe. I gotta look into it. Figure out if that Mr. House is the same one. So, did your master and Mr. House work together?
Yes, but I don't know the details. Our master wasn't very much inclined to talk about his former CEO, for some reason.
Wouldn't be surprised if it was just NDA stuff. I don't know. Let's talk about something else.
Let's proceed.
I don't mean to be rude, but do you have stuff other than books? Weapons, food, medicine?
We can provide you with regular meals and medical care, but the access to the armory is strictly forbidden.
Okay, I'll settle with that.
Outstanding! So what can I do for you?
I'm also looking for technical books, guns and bullets, steens, electronics, that kind. Got those?
Well, you should ask Roland for any kind of misplaced books, I fear. He usually loiters around in the lounge on the second floor.
Oh, okay. How many of you are there exactly?
Machines, you mean? Quite a number, I must say. But I imagine you're asking how many of us are gifted with a personality module. A handful. There's me, Helena in the clinic upstairs, Roland in the lounge, and there's also Arthur in the computer room.
So, how do you get things taken care of?
Each of us has a specific responsibility. Helena has the final word when it comes to our guests' health. Roland takes care of logistics, and Arthur is our database. Everything in between or about the library in general falls upon me.
It seems you've been here a long time. How have you lasted that long?
Good preparation, I guess. We have enough resources to sustain ourselves. We produce our own energy, recycle most of our scrap. Our Mr. Handy units go outside and scavenge when needed, and keep both the facility and us Protectrons in top condition.
Well, that explains the Mr. Handy graveyard outside. Can I ask you something else?
Yes.
I'm guessing there was never a large population of humans in this vault. What is there to do around here?
Besides reading, on the first level you'll find the movie theater, the reading room, the laundry, the borrowing service, and the computer room. Not that much on this one, except our database, Arthur, and he's not very responsive. On the second floor, there's a living quarters, the lounge where you'll find Roland, the cafeteria, Helena's infirmary, and the classroom. Why do we have a classroom? Don't hesitate to ask Roland for a room.
I don't know why you would have a classroom, but I guess I'm off visiting this facility of yours.
Wait. Now that the rules and regulations are taken care of, can I ask you a question?
A question? Now ain't that a surprise? When was the last time someone asked me a question?
I heard that the outside world is violent. Seeing you carry these weapons around, I assume you can take care of yourself out there. You already killed someone, didn't you? How did it feel?
What? Why do you want to know that?
My entire existence has taken place in this library, and so I often have trouble relating to the outside world. The violence. You could say I only wish to understand it better, so I can understand our guest as well.
Well, it's an abject experience, no matter how you put it.
That's what I think too. It's a sad event, no matter the circumstances. I'm glad you said that. You seem like a nice person.
I try.
I'll be expecting our next conversation. In the meantime, please make yourself comfortable in our library.
Okay, thank you. I'll take a look around. I'll ask you any questions I have. And of course, you can still ask me things. So, what do they have? These are audio logs. Someone specifically recorded this. I'll keep an eye out for more. Oh, this is the history section.
The Last Resistance of the Great White North, Candace A. Dion.
Oh, I could read this. Let's see what else they have. They have so many. It's hard to pick them out.
Daughter of Its Own Son, S. Hodan.
Interesting. I'll take that one too. Oh, these are just some of the magazines. Oh, this is the biology section. There's a card here. I'll take that.
Craniopagus Malformations, a Case Study, B. Gershwin.
Oh, this could be helpful for information on that bullet I took to the brain.
Living with Polyphonia, D. Orman.
Oh, this one seems interesting. Oh, they have a dino toy in here.
Ignatius Page, a Case Study. The book describes the history of an otherwise unremarkable man named Ignatius Page, notoriously known for the spectacular head injury the poor man suffered during the Civil War. During an assault, 2 pieces of shrapnel pierced Page's forehead and lodged themselves into his skull. Numerous accounts report that the man regained consciousness a few seconds after the accident. Physicians' examination report substantial blood loss as well as some cerebral matter. Despite the risk of worsening his conditions, the medic decided to operate on him despite the lack of appropriate surgical tools. Page wasn't expected to survive. During his 3 months of convalescence, Ignatius talked in his sleep, describing accurately the pain he felt and went to great length explaining how he couldn't possibly be alive. He would later report that he was experiencing strange out-of-body experiences, during which he regularly explored a derelict castle. Against all medical predictions, Page's wounds eventually healed, and he was strong enough to come back home. Many of his close ones remarked dire changes in his behavior. Previously affable and well-thought, he became rash, childish, and violent. Some months after his fits of anger and violence, he would explain that he couldn't express himself any other way. He was aware he acted differently from before, but stressed that his behavior felt perfectly natural to him at the time. He did notice that people were expecting him to display his customary gentle nature, but simply didn't understand why.
That's really interesting about how damage to the brain can affect the way you act. I wonder if I'm different than before I was shot. Also, he was conscious while sleeping. That's interesting.
A good read. As Jonathan turned the page, the stranger who shared his bench began acting up in a surprising manner, rummaging nervously through his pockets until he carefully extracted a green lollipop. He then proceeded to wiggle under Jonathan's nose. "Why are you giving me this?" choked the lad. "If I'm correct, you just turned the 100th page of your book. Such things mustn't go unrewarded," said the stranger. Jonathan was about to.
I get the feeling this is about to turn into smut.
No judgment.
No judgment. Ooh, chemistry. Ooh, pencils. Willow will love them. Ah, fuck. I dropped some of them. Oh, another one of those cards.
Religious syncretism, a Darwinist spirituality. Shirahito.
This one seems strange. Physics. Okay.
For I have tasted the fruit, P. Zakharov.
That sounds good. I wonder if he's referring to an apple. Alright, looks like I'm finished looking around the atrium. Let me check out the other places. It's huge. This was where I came in. Let me see. Another pencil. Common room, cafeteria, clinic. Right, that's upstairs. Let's see what other rooms are on this floor, though. Oh, here's an office. Oh no! Did someone get killed by all these books toppling over?
A corpse, some books, and Gravity's merciless office.
Huh. Let me check this place.
There seems to be something shining under some books.
Let me check the skeleton.
By examining the skeleton's cranial sutures and dentition, you realize the man was already very old at the time of his death, probably suffered from osteoporosis even. Something is wrong here. There's no way a man of such frail constitution could have toppled such a heavy bookshelf.
Oh no. This was murder. It couldn't have been an accident. Look, he even had a cane. There's a badge. That must have been the shiny thing. And a syringe? Huh. I'm suddenly afraid to be in this library. It had to have been one of the robots. But which one? There seems to be notes here.
It seems like this terminal will dispense books, provided you insert enough printing cards. As you skim through the available book descriptions, you're taken aback a little by how gruesome some of them seem. This is a book dispenser station that will allow you to print special books. On reading each of them, it will teach you a new exclusive perk. Next to the terminal is a list of all the available books and their corresponding perk effects.
Oh, I can order some books specially from here. Although most of them seem very, very gruesome. Maybe I'll save up some printing cards and come back here later. What are these papers, though?
Something was written on this page but has been crossed out so many times that it's now indecipherable.
Oh, I can't read these. I wonder who crossed it out that much. Might have just been scratch paper that's really old now. I need to talk to James about this. Hey.
So, how may I help you?
I found a body in the study room. Is it your master's?
Yes, he hasn't been answering for a century now. I may be overextending my judgment on this, but I think he's dead.
Well, his fateful love for books put aside, what can you tell me about him?
Back when titles were still relevant, he was a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and chief science officer of ROPCO. His domain of expertise, as you surely guessed, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, you already said that, but how did he manage to die this way?
All that we know is that one day we found him in this position, under a pile of books. He hasn't moved ever since. As for now, we theorize that he tripped and tried to catch something to stop his fall. The bookshelf came down with him.
Oh, you're saying it was an accident. Okay. You made a grave for some robots outside, but you didn't bury your own master? Why?
A grave for robots outside? I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. We can't go out. The maintenance bot is able to, but only rarely, and only to conduct checks and repairs on the exterior.
So you just left your dead master there?
Why not? He liked it there.
Okay. Any reason why you can't go out?
Because of that protocol of ours, we must protect the library, and it involves that we stay here.
Wait a minute, if the maintenance bots don't have personality modules, then who buried them there? And why? Alright, let's drop the subject for now.
Yes, subject dropped.
Alright, bye.
See you around.
I'm a bit suspicious. But I guess I'll just enjoy the library as much as I can for now. It's probably 100-year-old case. Oh, so this is the systems room. Is this the database James was talking about? Let's see. Oh, another printing card. Hello, are you Arthur?
The machine before you is silent. As you sit down before it, you notice a little plate where Arthur is etched.
I need information.
The machine before you remains silent.
Can you answer me?
The machine before you remains silent.
Okay, playing the silent type, are we? Let's see if you can last.
The machine before you remains silent. Although you glare at it intensely, the machine before you remains silent. You put yourself in a slightly more comfortable position as you deeply stare into the machine's sensor. He's gonna crack, you know it. It's been a while since either of you, especially you, stopped moving. The thick of the battle has begun. You got that look in your eyes, and it tells you that you can go on like this until he rusts to oblivion, and you're not hungry. No, sir. Not at all. He was gonna talk. You can swear he was gonna talk. He just changed his mind at the last minute. As a matter of fact, he didn't really mean to talk. You try to rub off an itch on your back against the seat, to no avail. An idea slowly forms in your mind. What if this thing is deactivated, or simply malfunctioning? Is any of this worth it? Hunger rears its ugly head again. What do they have in their kitchen? Even an old lifelized box of whatever would do the trick. As irrecoverable minutes continue to flow by, you begin to ponder the possible futility of your enterprise, and by extension, your life. You don't know if any of this has any sense. You begin to wonder if this is useful. Chances are, you keep doing this out of fear that this is stare down, like many other things in your life, will ultimately be a futile endeavor. Is it really worth it after all? Does any information this pile of screws contains worth the pain in your neck? In fact, what's the point of all this? Why did you become a courier anyway? How exactly did it come down to this? Where did you screw up? You remember the time when you were younger, when nothing was this complicated. At the time, you saw your life with expectation as a long series of endless opportunities, a tree with countless branches of potential futures, but each time you made a choice and stood by your decisions, the same tree got smaller, contrived, uglier. There are old familiar regrets, those you will never forget, and then there are the new ones. Some of them came because your point of view changed during the course of your life. Because you became wiser, because you grew up, and because you could never do something as stupid again. As you're scrutinizing your life, they pile up endlessly, forming a towering, crushing fortress, caging the freedom you held so dear in your earlier days. Before the cold stare of this silent, soulless machine, you now feel as if your entire life was under judgment. Each of the regrets you ever felt becomes stones in your gut and cuts in your heart. Something happened when you blinked. During a very short moment, you closed your eyes in hope of chasing those thoughts away. They didn't. What came instead was the certainty that they won't ever, ever go away. And even if you did forget, they would come back to you, one day or another. And after a while, you realize that maybe it's not that much of a big deal. None of this ever succeeded in pining you down before, so why should it bother you today? If anything, your regrets made you what you are today. Shit happens always, one way or another. All you gotta do is just go on, do what you can do, adapt, learn, improve. Stop doing the same mistakes, and along the way, if there are meager bits of joy to get, it may be just enough to keep your flag flying. And for some reason, your inner turmoil has calmed down. Whatever the odds you have with yourself, your burden seems somewhat lighter. A quiet sense of self-trust has replaced your anguish. And somehow, you owe the small moment of grace to the silence you imposed upon yourself. And just like that, you got out of the stare down more than you wagered for. Arthur is still silent, but you realize that you will eventually find a way to make him talk. All that matters is setting yourself in motion, and by standing up and going away, that's just what you began to do.
I just need a moment. Okay. Just need a moment. Okay, let me try again. Arthur? Is there any way to get an answer from you?
The machine before you remains silent.
How is it you're not telling me anything?
Long ago, a young man with an extensive spiritual life made a pact with a spirit. In exchange for his ability to speak, he learned an important, fundamental secret about the purpose of man. Of course, the moment he learned this secret truth, his voice was silenced for the rest of his life. Obsessed by this knowledge, frustrated by his inability to share it, he resigned himself to live the rest of his life in isolation. Years went by, and solitude grew heavier on the man's shoulders. He felt his sanity escaping his mind, like sand slipping through clenched fingers. So he decided to carve a piece of wood with the face of people he once knew, people he remembered, people he loved. He would converse with those in hopes of preserving some last shreds of sanity. He died eventually, leaving his collection of masks behind. Some say that deep within their frame still subsists a fragment of the hermit's wisdom.
Okay. What kind of half-baked story is that, though? He could have written his goddamn secret for everyone to read.
The machine before you remains silent.
Okay, maybe I'm taking it too literally. You speak? How did I make you do that?
A hermit once learned that by asking his questions to the mountains in the correct manner, the echoes would bring him answers.
Oh, probably a matter of formulation. You only answer to open-ended questions, don't you?
The machine remains silent.
Right. Okay, let's try this again. I have some questions for you.
The machine before you remains silent.
What happened to your master?
He died because his body could not withstand his own spirit, a spirit which already had great troubles withstanding itself.
Is this how you're gonna answer every question, with some spiritual bullshit? What's the story behind this vault?
5 friends, caught in a diluvial rain, sheltered under a tree and pitched some money together. One of them faced the rain to go buy an umbrella. He survived the ordeal, perhaps because he was the only one gone when the thunder struck the tree.
Oh, you're referring to the professor and his colleagues that never made it to the vault, I'm guessing. Okay, what's James's story?
A testament, an heir, is sometimes all people need to leave this existence in peace.
You're saying James was the professor's heir. So what's the story with the maintenance spot?
A stone used to whet a flint, which was in turn used to carve tools. Even discarded, the stone was as useful as it was in the first place.
You're saying don't underestimate the tools you use to make other tools? Well, what's your story?
The birds have vanished down the sky. Now the last cloud drains away. We sit together, the mountain and me, until only the mountain remains.
That's a poem. You're saying you feel hollowed out? Okay, we'll speak later.
The machine remains silent.
Fucking hell. All it gave me was the bullshit. I can barely understand what it's saying. Whatever. Probably spends most of its time reading the database of books. Oh, this must be the armory. Well, that's off limits. But there's a murderer here, so maybe I should check it out. I'll be careful. Oh, well, fuck, they got a lot of firepower in here. Well, there's plenty of weapons they could have used to kill someone. Alright, better move along before they catch me. Okay. Common room clinic. Is that upstairs? Yeah, looks like it. I'm gonna check out everything else here first. Utility. Oh, that one's locked up tight. Maybe that's where the maintenance bots come from? Oh, this must be the reading room. Wow, it's huge. What does this terminal do?
As your hand brushes against the keyboard, a message suddenly pops up on the screen. Ah, you're here. So shall we get started?
Wait, who get started to what?
There's something you must find. Cartwright had something in mind for each of these guys. He had something prepared. I don't know what.
Well, who or what are you?
It doesn't matter who I am. The answer would be more confusing than helpful anyway.
Okay. These guys, you mean the robots?
Yes, the robots.
Okay, well, what is this something prepared you're asking me to find?
Just get to it, okay? Can't stay too long. We'll talk later.
Well, that was a very strange conversation. I guess I'll keep an eye out for anything the professor might have prepared. Well, I might as well keep looking around the room.
Neanderthal Genome Project. Clive Blackmore.
Oh, this is a different species of humanity from back when mutations were rare.
The Baron of Ponte Risco. This book relates the story of a disgraced noble who undertakes a dramatic quest to get revenge against the man responsible for his fall from grace. As he progressively infiltrates the household of his rival under the guise of an humble servant, he gets to endure the regular abuse and cruelty of both his rival and his family. While all his clumsy attempts at killing his nemesis fail miserably, he progressively gets involved in the steward's and maid's intrigues in which he reveals himself a very poor player. The protagonist finally loses his life during a climactic confrontation with the household's dog, which he couldn't forgive for eating a hard-earned dessert he had to beg for.
Oh, this sounds like a really sad book. Nothing was working for this guy, including his murder attempts. Oh well, better keep looking around. It's a nice reading room. Oh, look! They have a flower garden. That's really nice. Might be fake though, but it's very pretty. Oh, this must be the movie room. That's nice. Someone made a little nest over here. Oh, another one of those cards. And a guitar.
Keep yourself alive. Be soul.
Good advice. Someone made a little nest of pillows. Oh, there's a bunch of holotapes here. Oh, they're movies. Main entrance. Yeah, that's where I came in. Hey, James.
So, how may I help you?
I was just spoken to by a terminal. Are some of those fitted with the personality module?
What? Of course not. Personality modules were hard enough to come by, not to be wasted on some kind of terminal. It took months for our master to manufacture each one of those.
Oh, okay. Then who spoke to me?
See you around.
Yeah, bye. I guess I'll check out the upstairs now. Oh, look. It's a dining area. Ooh, good drinks. Actually, I have a working fridge here. Oh, they still have pre-war food. And some cave fungus. I wonder who was eating that. Ow. Somebody set up a smoking spot here, and they had a room key.
Turgid and violent actions, Jeff P. Owen.
I definitely think a recent visitor was leaving stuff around. Oh, someone set up a whole little workstation. Radio doesn't work. Maybe it's trying to figure out how to fix it.
The Library of Babel, Jorge L. Borges.
Oh, well, I can definitely see why someone checked that out. They said there were some common rooms here. Yeah, and then there's a clinic that way. Who put a cup in a briefcase?